Farm workers like my parents and like many of my constituents back home in the Coachella Valley taught me the values of hard work, resiliency, and taking care of one another. Farm workers are getting infected and dying from COVID-19 at a much higher rate than the general public. They are literally dying to feed you, give you the nutrients you need to prevent COVID-19 and heal from COVID-19. We must protect and secure our food supply chain.
This legislation, while long overdue, is urgently needed now in light of the coronavirus crisis, which is forcing our essential workers, farm workers, to live and work under a cloud of fear and uncertainty about their health and their jobs. At the same time, the pandemic has accelerated a labor crisis in the farm economy that endangers farmers and producers and requires action.
We have come through a pandemic, our country has, and many of us have suffered, but there's one thing that we can be grateful for, and that's that the food chain was never disrupted. Throughout the pandemic, we could go to the grocery store and there would be food in that store. And for that, we need to thank the farmers of this country, but we also need to thank the farm workers of this country, a majority of whom are undocumented, a majority of whom have been here more than 10 years.
I've spoken with the hard-working men and women and their young children who work to put food on America's dinner table. And I've seen the hope in their eyes, the hope that we can pass this legislation to provide them legal status, hope for a normal life for free dread of family separation that often too happens with deportation that hangs over them every day when they go to work. Hope for a chance to change their reality and reshape their story.
Farmers. We don't have a domestic workforce willing to do ag labor, so farmers are reliant on immigrants to harvest their products. That is why if we pass this bill today, that is why if the Senate does its job tomorrow, farmers will have a predictable and dependable workforce. Farm workers will get the legality and the dignity that they deserve.
I grew up poor picking cotton in the fields of South Texas. I can testify firsthand about the incredibly hard, back-breaking work that farm workers do, especially in the heat of the South Texas sun. Not much seems to have changed since I worked in the fields. Things pretty much still are handled about the same. This bill is long overdue and would provide farm workers with important worker protections and legal rights that I never had, and they desperately need today.
Undocumented workers now comprise about half of the U.S. farm workforce. But they are living and working in a state of uncertainty and fear, which contributes to the destabilization of farms across the nation. H.R. 1603, the Farm Workers Modernization Act, addresses these challenges head-on.
Farm workers do back-breaking work to make sure that all of us have food on our table. Under scorching sun, unbearable cold, whether they're sick, feeling well, whether they have family members who are not feeling well, they go to work to make sure we have what we need, even and almost especially during the era of COVID. It is incredible that anyone would stand in the way of having these incredible people finally have a pathway to legalize. The Farm Worker Modernization Act is a piece of legislation that is long overdue.
I rise to support this legislation because it will provide dignity, opportunity for enhanced economic engine as the farm workers take certified status because they can do it over and over again. Where is the bread on our table coming from? The hardworking farm workers every day that are out in these fields working to provide for the American people and the people around the world. We are the breadbasket of this world, and because of their work, we're able to feed as many.
And my ranchers and my farmers need a ag work program. It has to. They need it. I've always said, if an American wants a job, let them have that job. But if they're not going to fill that position, then we need to have a guest worker plan.